Jey Uso super kicks the undisputed WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns on SmackDown last night and joined his brother Jimmy Uso in leaving the Bloodline. Has Bianca Belair planted the seeds for a heel turn on the blue brand last night too? Carlito, has he re-signed with WWE? Details on that, plus Pretty Deadly will be challenging for the Tag Team Championships in their home country of England in the United Kingdom in London after winning a match last night on SmackDown. An update on Drew McIntyre, his status with WWE. LA Knight, is the favorite for the men's Money in the Bank ladder match coming up in a few weeks' time. WWE files a new trademark for Chelsea Green's in-ring name. An update on the WWE Tour Schedule, and Bayley puts her spot in the women's Money in the Bank ladder match on the line next week on SmackDown. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of World Wrestling Entertainment. Let's start off talking about Jey Uso, because he is done with the Bloodline. Yes, Friday night on SmackDown, Roman Reigns finally got an answer from his cousin Jey Uso, but unfortunately for the Tribal Chief, it came in the form of a super kick straight to his face. Throughout the evening, Reigns tasked his wise man Paul Heyman with convincing Jey to fall in line. That took the shape of several apologies, with repeated claims that Jey's twin brother Jimmy was to blame for Jey losing his United States Championship match against Austin Theory on last week's episode of SmackDown on Fox. Heyman also reminded him that Jimmy meant to kick Reigns at Night of Champions, and Heyman claimed that Jimmy meant to kick Jey last week. All the while, Jey Uso didn't waver, and in the moments leading up to his ultimate decision, he was even greeted by a familiar face in Sami Zayn, who this time only needed to give a nod. Yet by the time Jey Uso made his way to the ring to confront the Bloodline, Reigns was willing and ready to throw Jimmy under the bus once more. And when it was revealed that Jimmy really did reject the idea of his brother becoming the next Tribal Chief, Jey finally looks ready to break from his brother completely. But as we've seen over and over again, Jey would never turn his back on his brother. So, guess what? You out, Jey said to Jimmy, and I'm out too, Jey declared before kicking Reigns straight in the face. Then the Usos together super kicked their brother Solo Sikoa as well before taking down Reigns once more again. For nearly 3 years, they have helped their cousin achieve unprecedented success in the modern era of professional wrestling in WWE. But on Friday night, the Bloodline, as we once knew it, has come to an emphatic end. Now, as far as a reaction about this, for weeks, Paul Heyman conveyed to Jey Uso that Roman Reigns was preparing to pass the mantle of the Tribal Chief to him. However, Jey was never going to turn on his twin Jimmy to advance his career to the next level, even as he teased doing exactly that on SmackDown on Friday. During the final segment of the show, Jey initially pledged his loyalty to Reigns, referring to himself as Reigns' right-hand man and main event Jey Uso, making it clear to Jimmy that he was out of the Bloodline. But just then, Jey uttered the words, "I'm out too," followed by a super kick on Reigns at the Rupp Arena in Lexington, Kentucky. It became unglued. That building literally exploded with noise after Jey made his decision known. After the show, Jey Uso shared backstage footage of himself and Jimmy embracing for a big hug, along with the words, "Decision made, the Usos stand together." As reported previously, WWE also released exclusive footage from the aftermath of SmackDown, showing a distraught Reigns trying to come to terms with Jey's betrayal. The footage also showed fans in Lexington, Kentucky chanting "You deserved it" at an annoyed Reigns as he stormed out of the ring and walked to the back alongside Solo Sikoa. Of course, the question now becomes, what's going to happen in the future? Well, all signs are pointing to the Usos versus Reigns and Sikoa at the upcoming Money in the Bank Premium Live event, where Reigns is expected to main event per several reports. The match will mark the first instance of Reigns and the Uso wrestling on opposite sides since an episode of SmackDown in February 2015, where Reigns and Daniel Bryan wrestled the Usos in a tag team turmoil match. Subsequently, Reigns and Jey Uso had several battles in September 2020 at the very onset of this critically acclaimed Bloodline storyline, so some are also speculating we could see Reigns versus Jey Uso maybe in the main event of SummerSlam coming up later on this summer. So what are your thoughts? Jey Uso is out alongside Jimmy Uso. The Bloodline has changed dramatically, or certainly as we know it. What are your thoughts on this storyline? What are your thoughts on the segment? And what are your thoughts on what the plans could be as we get closer and closer to Money in the Bank and also SummerSlam later on this summer? Now, speaking of characters changing, Bianca Belair, maybe we've started to see a new attitude from the former women's champion. With Charlotte Flair coming to the ring for an edition of the Grayson Waller effect, their exchange was brief but memorable, with Waller getting permission to do a woo. It was interrupted by Bianca Belair. Belair remains incensed regarding Adam Pearce having promised her a rematch with Asuka after feeling the title was won from her at Night of Champions through dubious means, and then promptly giving the opportunity to a returning Charlotte Flair. As the pair went back and forth on the microphone, the moment allowed to showcase their motives, with the crowd seemingly excited to decide who to root for, as both were well received. With even Michael Cole on commentary, noting that Belair has been in a grumpy mood lately, the light teases toward a possible Belair heel turn, and that continued last night on SmackDown. Now, some have argued that while she did play a babyface in NXT, she did have somewhat of a more heelish persona in NXT, but she's been presented as a babyface throughout her time on the main roster. However, at this point, with Bianca Belair asking reasonable questions and having reasonable demands, it is less of a heel turn than it is a positive example of a female speaking up for herself, but we'll keep monitoring the storyline. With Bianca pledging to be ringside in 2 weeks for Charlotte Flair's match against Asuka, could we see a full heel turn in front of a wild O2 crowd? So the question becomes, do you think this is the beginning of a heel turn for Bianca Belair? Do you think that she will turn heel and interfere in the match between Asuka and Charlotte Flair in a few weeks' time? Let me know your thoughts, as always, in the comment section below. Now, lots of questions have been ongoing about Carlito. What's his status, and is he actually returning to the WWE? Well, an update has been provided on Carlito potentially re-signing with WWE. As previously reported, the rumors started with Dave Meltzer on the Wrestling Observer radio show, who claimed that he had heard that Carlito had pulled out of a planned independent appearance for Great North Wrestling due to, quote, signing with WWE. In an update, SE Scoops reached out to Great North Wrestling for clarification on the rumor, where they were also told by the promotion that Carlito had claimed he had re-signed with the company. Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Selectors provided an update, noting that the former Intercontinental Champion has been pulled from a show in Lexington, Kentucky as well. The report also notes that Fightful has confirmed that Carlito and WWE have had talks as of late. Of course, the former WWE star made his return to the company at Backlash in Puerto Rico to help Bad Bunny and the Latino World Order fight off the Judgment Day during the San Juan street fight between Bad Bunny and Damian Priest. If hired, Carlito would be the first main roster hire for WWE of 2023 since the reported hiring freeze since the return of Vince McMahon to the company ahead of the upcoming merger between UFC and WWE under the Endeavor umbrella. Of course, if we get any more details about a potential return to WWE for Carlito, we'll let you know in a future video. Pretty Deadly are getting a shot at the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships. Sheamus and Rich Holland of the Brawling Brutes did the heavy lifting Friday night, but in the end, it was Pretty Deadly standing tall. Now, Elton Prince and Kit Wilson have a showdown with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn to look forward to as they look to win the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships in London, England, in a few weeks' time. Friday, SmackDown kicked off with a tag team gauntlet match to determine the new #1 contenders. Sheamus and Holland made quick work of the Street Profits before taking out Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows of the OC and Cruz del Toro and Joaquin Wilde of the Latino World Order. And from there, they just needed 17 seconds to dispatch Hit Row, setting up a final showdown with a fresh Pretty Deadly. Despite the back and forth and the fact that Sheamus and Holland appeared to have the upper hand late in the match, a blind tag from Prince paved the way for yet another Pretty Deadly victory at the expense of the Brutes. Since being drafted to SmackDown, Pretty Deadly have won all 3 of their matches. Now, the 2-time NXT and NXT UK Tag Team Champions will look to make it a perfect 4 for 4 during the Money in the Bank weekend. That match is going to be taking place in a few weeks' time. Of course, they're certainly Pretty Deadly going to have the home crown advantage in the UK. Speaking of UK stars, Drew McIntyre. What's the latest for McIntyre and his WWE status? Well, there has been talk about having Drew McIntyre back for the upcoming WWE Money in the Bank Premium Live event, according to the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter. While there is no obvious opponent for him to face right now, most of the top stars are either already occupied by various storylines or in the Money in the Bank ladder match itself. There is interest in having him back for that show. McIntyre has not been on television since WrestleMania 39. There he was part of the triple threat match for the Intercontinental Championship. However, it would make sense to have him back in London for the show in front of the UK fans. There have been meetings and creative pitches recently to get a direction set for McIntyre upon his return. After being banged up leading into WrestleMania, McIntyre took some time off to heal the wounds. However, before coming back, he wanted plans in place before he resurfaced. Plus, with his contract situation still unresolved, McIntyre is aware that this could be his last run in WWE and wants whatever he does to be meaningful. So keep an eye out because McIntyre could be back for the Money in the Bank event in a few weeks' time. Speaking of Money in the Bank, LA Knight is possibly the favourite to win the men's briefcase. The betting pool has LA Knight favoured to leave London with the Money in the Bank briefcase on July 1st. The megastar will be entering the match at the titular event alongside Damian Priest, Shinsuke Nakamura, Santos Escobar, Ricochet and Butch. The latest betting odds on Bet Online show Knight the favourite by a long shot as Ricochet and Butch are tied for the longest odds. The Money in the Bank ladder match won't be Knight's first rodeo with ladder matches in WWE, as he previously defeated Cameron Grimes in a ladder match for the $1 Million Championship in NXT. Going back even further, this will mark only the third ladder match in his career, counting his previous bout with Grimes and a ladder match with Impact Wrestling in 2016. Knight earned his spot in the Money in the Bank ladder match on the June 2nd episode of SmackDown, where he defeated Montez Ford of the Street Profits in a qualifying match. The match itself will take place on July 1st at the Money in the Bank Premium Live event. It's WWE's third PLE in a row that is being held outside of the continental United States, following Backlash in Puerto Rico and Night of Champions in Saudi Arabia. So what are your thoughts? Is LA Knight the favourite in your eyes, or will it be someone else that leaves London with the Money in the Bank briefcase? Chelsea Green. The Royal Rumble this past January saw Chelsea Green make her return to WWE, and Green has made the most of her time back. It seems WWE plans on keeping Green around for the foreseeable future, as the company has now filed a trademark to claim the star's name. Earlier this week, WWE filed a trademark to use Chelsea Green for entertainment services, namely wrestling exhibitions and performances by a professional wrestler. Assuming the trademark claim goes through, it will also cover the use of Green's name on WWE websites, in newsletters, blogs, and more. Green has been tagged with fellow WWE star Sonya Deville in recent months, with the two capturing a spot on the WrestleMania 39 card back in March. The two came up short in the full-weight title match, and apart from a pair of victories against Candice LeRae and Mission in March and April, Green and Deville have yet to find much success as a tag team. However, Green has garnered quite a bit of positive attention for her performances since returning. After being released by WWE in 2021, Green returned to the independent scene soon before signing with Impact Wrestling. Green had left Impact in November and reportedly signed with WWE months before her return at the Royal Rumble. She was featured on the latest episode of Raw with a singles match against Becky Lynch. She would, however, come up short in the bout, so WWE filing to trademark Chelsea Green's in-ring name. Now, a bit of update when it comes to WWE's touring schedule. WWE has revealed some additional dates for their 2023 touring schedule, including the Fallout shows for the recently announced Payback event. Yesterday, 7 were added to the calendar for this summer and fall. Following Roman Reigns' 1,000-day celebration as Universal Champion on the June 2nd edition of SmackDown, WWE will head back to the Mohegan Sun Arena in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania to host an episode of Raw on Monday, November 6th. In addition, 2 more Raw events have been included in that updated lineup. Following the conclusion of Payback in Pittsburgh, WWE will make their way to the Spectrum Center in Charlotte, North Carolina on Monday, September 4 to begin the Premium Live event Fallout on the Red brand. The following week, WWE makes a stop at the Scope in Norfolk, Virginia on September 11th for the subsequent Raw. Ahead of Payback, WWE will present the go-home episode of SmackDown from the Giant Center in Hershey, Pennsylvania on Friday, September 1st. After Raw in Charlotte, the Payback Fallout will continue on September 8th as the company returns to the TD Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. Outside of the aforementioned Raw and SmackDown dates, a pair of WWE Super Show live events will take place on August 26 and 27. After stopping at the Show Me Center in Cape Girardeau, Missouri, talent will make their way to Huntsville, Alabama for a live event at the Von Braun Center the following day. So a bit of an update when it comes to WWE's touring schedule. Finally, Bayley is putting her Money in the Bank ladder match spot on the line next Friday. Friday on SmackDown, Bayley got a taste of her own medicine courtesy of her Damage Control cohort Io Sky. Unfortunately for the role model, it couldn't have come at a worse time. Now she's slated to face Shotzi next week with her spot in the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match on the line. 1 week ago, Bayley interfered in Shotzi's match with Sky in order to help her stablemate qualify for the all-important ladder match on July 1st. But on Friday night, some miscommunication between Damage Control led to Zelina Vega picking up the victory over Sky Sky, all while adding to tension between the pair. So when Shotzi approached them backstage a little later, she suggested that if not for Bayley, she would have beaten Sky to the punch and had her own ticket to Money in the Bank. That's when she laid down the challenge to Bayley, and in a twist, Sky was more than happy to declare she accepts. As of now, the women's field includes Bayley, Sky, Vega, Becky Lynch, and Zoe Stark. So will Bayley lose her spot next week? That's the big question. But there you go, guys. It's the latest WWE news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.